What's up, YouTube? It's Coach Josh here, Master Sprint Coach, high school and collegiate sprints and hurdles coach, and ex Division One hurdler myself. Forgot to mention that in the last video. Anyway, so today we're following up with the 9 pillars that Fred Duncan spoke about, which are the 9 pillars of speed and what drives speed. So today we're going to break them down specifically as to what you can do in each pillar to improve your pillar and therefore improve your speed. So let's jump into it. So first, we're talking about suppleness. Now, suppleness, if you forgot, defined like this, which is your ability to move under certain constraints. So for a track person, it would be how well can you move as you're running full speed? Or for football, it could be how well do you move with pads on and if someone hits you, or for soccer, if someone's grabbing at your jersey and you're trying to run away, things like that. Whatever, however this applies to your specific sport, suppleness is just your ability to move under certain constraints because it's not always going to be a perfect environment for you to sprint and be your best. So suppleness, how can you improve your suppleness? So it's really easy if you've ever been in sports before. A skips, leg swings, lunges, hurdle mobility, some squats, things of this nature just help us improve our overall mobility and as well as building strength and fluidity with certain motions, getting used to certain motions, and just getting used to how our body moves. Um, a lot of this stuff we learn as we're younger if we grow up playing sports, but sometimes there's some holes, there's some gaps. And so reinforcing these drills that sometimes may seem mundane and boring, especially if you're a track guy or a football person, basketball, how you do the same warm-ups every day. And it seems like it can get boring, but I don't know if your coaches know, but it teaches you supplements, range of motion, and just getting familiar with productive movements that will directly transfer to you being better at your sport if your coach has the structured correctly. Okay, so next, we're talking about strength. Now, strength is a given. Get in the weight room, get under the squat rack, get under the bench press. Strength, yeah, not much to be said there. Sometimes strength can be over, how do I say it? Too much emphasis on the weight room. Okay, for example, though, if you are a football guy, yes, you should be lifting weights. If you do, what's another sport? Maybe if you're a power lifter, you lift a lot of weights. But the truth is, not a lot of sports require you to be super, super strong. And specifically for track and field, because that is my expertise, yes, you need to be strong, but you don't need to be lifting like a football player. You don't need to be lifting like a basketball player, or not basketball player, a bodybuilder. So the weight room is just to support your sprinting and track endeavors. If at any point you're lifting so much that you're building a lot of muscle mass and now it's harder for you to move along the track, then we will call that a detriment to your athletic performance. Now, you might be super strong, but does that help you become a better player, a better track athlete? That's the question you should be asking when you're in the weight room. Does this help me become a better player? Or am I going towards the path of a power lifter? Easy questions, but really something to consider. So I'm not saying don't do weight room. You definitely need to be strong, but make sure that it will directly apply to your event and it's not going to hold you back. All right, next we talk about rate of force development. So it goes similarly to strength. It's just your ability to express that strength fast and repeatedly. So again, you will be in the weight room for this one. We got power cleans, box jumps, and sprints, hill sprints, chain sprints, parachute runs, things that add resistance, but it is explosive in nature. So a power clean is very explosive in nature, but to get out of the weight room, you could do hill sprints, a great way to improve your rate of force development. The incline as that resistance so you can work on good angles, but you're still sprinting at the end of the day just with the resistance of incline. Same if you have a sled, if you're doing parachute runs, all these help you produce, excuse me, help you increase your rate of force production. So try those out. Okay, next we have coordination. So coordination, very important as well because you have to be coordinated enough to express your ability in your sport effectively. So better said like this: if you're uncoordinated, you ever seen someone who's uncoordinated? It looks silly, right? Yeah, it looks like their limbs and everything are all over the place. So coordination is important. How you build coordination? Well, similarly like doing A skips, B skips, but it depends on your sport. So if you're a football guy, then you would probably do ladder drills, right? Quick footwork drills, and then have someone throw a tennis ball at you so you have to catch it and then keep doing your foot drills, right? So that you're able to do multiple things at once, but everything stays in sync, which is the ultimate goal. Because whether you're sprinting, you're hurdling, you're a football guy, you're a basketball guy, you're a soccer player, a golfer, it doesn't matter. When you are doing your sport, multiple things are in motion at once. When you're a football guy, you have to catch the ball, then you have to land, then you have to avoid a defender, then you have to run, right? That's a lot going on right there. Even with golf, the swing has to be one coordinated motion. You can't move your hips and then swing your arms, or your arms go before your hips, and or like with soccer, you try to swing and kick, but you don't bring your hips with you, or your hands are out of place, or your body is out of position. All this goes with coordination. So building coordination is pretty simple. You just have to do coordinated things in coordination to what your sport is. So, like I said, for football, you do ladder drills, catch a tennis ball, all right? Or just throwing the tennis ball off the wall and catching it with each hand, right? Just teach you like hand-eye coordination or foot-to-hand coordination, right? You jump, try to touch your toes, or A skips, right? You're skipping, A skips, B skips, right? Things that require multiple body parts to work in unison together will help with your coordination. And coordination is very important if you play any type of sport. You have to be coordinated enough to do multiple things at once while doing one singular thing. So that's coordination. Next, stiffness. So stiffness goes right into the vein of plyometrics specifically. So pogo jumps, box jumps, anything reactive in nature where you don't have time to land and take your time and then jump up. Like it has to be reactive and quick in nature, right? So like the video I showed a boat or gout. I'll put the video up here again where you see how strong his ankles are. That is the stiffness that we're talking about. So even if it's not track in football, like you can't, every time you cut or make a step, you can't collapse under that force. You have to stay strong so you can explode out of it. So rate of force development also helps with stiffness. And like I said, plyometric is great for developing that stiffness. And all these can be developed in the off season. A good off season will give you all of these pillars under your belt so that your next season will be night and day. Okay, and so next we're going to talk about technique. So this will be very specific to your event or your sport. So for track and field and the sprinters, the technique will be your front side mechanics, your arm mechanics, how you drive out of the blocks, your acceleration phase, your maximum velocity, top end speed phase, how you finish. All these would be considered your technique. For football, it'll be specific to whatever event. If you're a receiver, quarterback, cornerback, safety, offensive line, defensive line, whatever the case may be. But the technique matters so much because doing the thing is one thing, but how you do the thing will take you to the next level. So as a sprinter, yeah, you might already be naturally fast, but have maybe poor frontside mechanics. So if you fix your technique, that could take you to the next level. So I agree with Duncan again on this one. Technique is very important, and training your technique will be specific to, again, your event. So I'll speak on for a sprinter. If let's say you do have bad frontside mechanics and you tend to run with a lot of back kick, which puts extra strain on the hamstrings, then you could work on your frontside mechanics by doing something like high knee cycles, where you drive your knees up and cycle everything in front of you. Another way would be working on your starts, so driving your thighs forward. Again, would be another cue or exercise you can work on to master your technique. But again, this will be specific to your event. I'm just speaking on what I know. So sprints and hurdles. Like for hurdles, if you have a bad lead leg, there are some techniques and drills you can do to improve that, like a lead leg wall drill, or you can cut the hurdle in half and just work on your lead leg, one step, three step, things like that. But again, technique, you would know better than me if it's not track or if it's not sprints or hurdles, but your technique, I mean, I'm sure you know that you're bad at something because someone's probably told you about it. And so that goes to the technical side of it. But once you fix your technique, that can take you to the next level. That could be the missing piece. So technique is very important. And number 8 is stamina. So you have to be able to produce more than one maximum output within a given period of time. So for soccer, you have a lot of highs and lows where you'll sprint super fast, and then you'll have lows where you'll be almost walking, or really are walking if you are like Lionel Messi or certain strikers. They'll walk in between their intervals, right? So you have to have the stamina to go full speed and then bring it down to a submaximal expression like a jog or a trot, and then go full speed again. So stamina is very important in maintaining your ability to compete and stay on the field if you are a field sport. For track and field, it's very important because sometimes you'll be at a track meet and you'll have to do the 100, the 200, the 300, or not the 300, or 300 hurdles, 400, multiple races at once. And even in practice, when you're doing your speed work, max velocity work, you're going to have to do it more than once. So building up your stamina for the specificity of your event is crucial. Now, stamina in terms of a distance runner would not work stamina for a 100-meter guy. So not all stamina is the same. It's very specific to what event you are competing in. And lastly, we have intent. So the best way to train intent is to do something hard and do it very fast and very aggressive. So maximum sprints is probably the best way to drive your intent and determination. Um, that's probably the best way to do it, is do something all out as hard as you can go. A great way to drive your intent, and it's a great way to raise your ceiling as well, because you see how high you can go. You take some rest, come back in maybe 2 weeks or a month,
and then try it again. So the goal is always to become better, even though we can never become perfect. There's always going to be a gap between where we are and where we could be, and we're constantly getting closer and closer and closer. So those are the 9 pillars and how to apply them applicably to your event. Thank you for tuning in. Catch y'all in the next video. Peace.